Hey guys, what we got here is an 8.2 inch 10 bolt rear end. It's a BOP variant, the Buick's Olds Pontiac variant, so a little different than the normal GM 10 bolt. What we're doing here is we're looking to replace the one wheel peel. This poor car, I've owned it since like 92, 93, and the poor thing's had a one wheel peel and like 280-ish gears its whole life, so it's time to correct that and put a Yukon posi in it with a 355 gear set. So we'll give this car a little more grunt. Some of you guys might be wondering why I'm putting this much effort into just plain old 8.2. Well, nothing more than it's original to the car. I don't want to change it too much, and for what I use the car for, it's going to be more than enough. My understanding is with this new carrier and gear set, and if you got a decent set of axles in there, it's good for 400 horse. This car isn't even to 400 horse yet. That's where I probably will end up being with it at some point here, doing little upgrades. But yeah, for what it's got, it's not going to have real wide meets. It's not going to be on a drag strip with high traction or anything like that. So for my intended use for this car is just a cruiser basically. So it'll be more than enough to handle what I use it for. So this will be fine. I've already pulled the axles on the thing and replaced the bearings on the axles. So if you guys want to see how that was done, that's on a previous video. Otherwise, we'll get started on this thing on disassembly and see how this goes. This is the first differential I've ever rebuilt, so I understand there's some quirky things with doing it and a lot of precision back and forth stuff to get it quite right, but we'll see how it goes. Never done it before, but I've also never rebuilt an engine till I did, and never rebuilt a transmission till I did. So I guess this is the next one, and today's the day. So let's get started. Okay, we got the cover off here. I already cleaned up the top of the cap a little bit with some degreaser. These caps, I understand, is you want to keep them in the original orientation. So I assume it's much like a rod in an engine, where the cap and the rod are a matched set. So you don't want to mix them up with the other end, so don't flip-flop them or anything like that. I assume these things, when they're manufactured, they were line honed through there, so that cap first perfectly fits this side and that cap perfectly fits that side. So we don't want to mix them up. Shouldn't be too bad. You can see they embossed a little arrow, so those will be pointing outwards, so that'll be easy to remember. Then I just took a silver Sharpie and I marked a P for passenger and a D for driver side. You can mark a 1, 2, whatever you want. I even marked the bolts. I don't think that's a big deal, but might as well keep them all exactly where they were from factory. So we got that done. Go ahead and see if we can get these bearing caps off. Just a little 5/8 inch socket. Ooh, that one's tight. Uh-oh. All right. We'll have to go the old-fashioned way here and get a ratchet and see if we can break her loose here. Ay. That is tight. Alright, might need a bigger ratchet, or might have to break out a bigger impact. That's just a little 3/8 impact. Might not have enough oomph to it here. Let me get my bigger impact out here. Okay, let's try this again. Got a little bigger 1/2 inch impact on the lowest setting now. There we go. Alright, let's take a look at these caps. These ones happen to break loose pretty easy. I understand sometimes they can get wedged on there. Copper coating on them, interesting. the inside of the bearing here. Shouldn't be much wear on this because this part don't see direct wear. Just the top race of the bearing just gets pressed in here, so everything looks fine on this one. Same here. Everything looks okay with that one. So on the next step here, we need to pull out the old carrier. And there's probably going to be some shims on the outside edge here. It's my understanding. And again, we don't want to mix those up. So when we pull them out, when we pull this carrier out here, we'll want to make sure we keep the shims on the right side. They don't just fall to the bottom and get mixed up. Just in case we want to put this carrier back in for some reason, we'll all know exactly which shims go on which side, so we can put them right back where they were, and we'll be good to go. So see how lucky we are, and this thing just pulls out. No such luck. Oh, on second thought, might get it here. That might have to get some pry bars, but there we go. Hold the outside races on. I can see the big shims. It looks like it just has two big shims. This one has the outside race that comes off. But other than that, I don't see another shim. So that's about it for the carrier. That was too easy. Probably just jinxed myself. And this one has two shims, one on each side. And they look to be identical on this one, so no problem there. There is a slight taper on the outside edges of these shims. So when I go back together, I might have to reuse these. I'll have to remember that the taper goes out towards the flanges of the axle, not inwards. So that's something to keep track of. And there's the pinion down there. Well, shoot, that was too easy. Like I said, I'm probably going to jinx myself, but that part worked good. I know this next part's not going to be easy, though. Sometimes getting this pinion nut off, I understand, is a real bear. And then getting the yoke off of that can also be a pain sometimes, but maybe we'll have good luck there too. So we'll move on to that step and see how that goes. I'll reset up the camera for that. Okay, here we go. Now this isn't good. I don't know how I made it through this far in life without an 1.25" impact socket. I have metrics in that size, but not standard sockets for some reason. I have no idea how that's ever happened, but here we are. So I have two options. I can use my standard socket, which is also a starred socket, which makes it even worse, which could shatter and is dangerous. They always say never use standard sockets in an impact. Or I can use the metric, which is slightly loose, and use that, which will probably strip and destroy that nut in there, and then I'm really screwed. So I think I am going to use the standard socket, and I am going to hit it very light and see how lucky we can get here. I'm not holding my breath. Oh man, and I probably holding this by hand probably isn't the best idea either. I could see it spinning around, grabbing my thumbs, snapping it off into oblivion. So try to hold it back here, and like I said, I'm really going to ease into it and see what happens here. Oh, I think it moved. Oh, look at that. Oh, lucky. There you go. I can't believe it came off that easy. That's unbelievable. Well, there you go. Got lucky there. Let's see. We got a little washer behind it. Okay. Set that to the side. Now, this is the hard part. Let's see here. We'll take out the old handy dandy dead blow here and give it a couple light hits from the backside. Just see if we can walk it off here. I doubt it, but you never know. We've been lucky so far. Let's give it a few taps here. Unreal. This whole project's been unreal. How's this all working out for me? This is not how it usually works for me. Usually everything's a fight. And again, I'm sure I'm jinxing myself, and at some point I'll turn into disaster, but there you go. Came right off. Alright, so that's that. Now let's see about getting this pinion out here. This is probably on pretty tight. Has a crushed sleeve. See how it goes here. It's dead blows, pretty soft face, but we'll put this nut back on it just because. We'll put it on backwards to give a nice flatter area here. Or, this is keeper style. It probably won't want to go on backwards, so I'll go ahead and flip it the way it was. Just so I don't damage the thread. I shouldn't with a soft face like this, but we'll see. Probably a good idea to keep your hand on the inside so that thing don't come launching out onto the concrete and damaging a thread. Oh my gosh. This can't be happening. This is the greatest day of my life. Other than being married with children, of course, but I don't think anything in my life has worked that easy before. Whew. There you go. Got the pinion. The other bearing must be stuck inside still, but there's that. Oh, that's a tiny little crush sleeve there. Man, I expected it to be a little larger than that by the kit I got to replace this one. But maybe the shaft length is different or something on the new pinion compared to this one, so hopefully I got the right kit here. I think I do. Well, there you go. I guess it's that easy. Still gotta pop the seal out here. Here's the outside bearing. It's captured in. Okay, so don't go inwards. It's gotta come outwards. But the seal here would have to pop out. Got a little pry bar close by here. Let's see if we can just pry the seal out. Oh, okay. Here's where we stopped being as lucky as we were. So maybe this ain't gonna happen so easy for me. A little bit bigger pry bar. Let's give this one a go. There we are. One seal. Looks like it's seen better days, but it's been in there since 1970, so. And here's the other bearing. Just a quick initial inspection of it. It looks to be in good shape. Haven't had any real issues with it. I think the outside axle bearing was starting to make some noises, which prompted this whole project. I don't think I was having any issues with the carrier part itself. It's just, since I got it tore apart, we might as well do what we wanted to do for the last 20 years. So there we go. The next step will be to pop the old races out. They're compression fit in there. So we'll go ahead and get a hammer and a drift. I think I got a brass drift so we don't damage anything. And we'll see about banging those things out of there. We'll reset the camera for that. We'll be right back. Okay, we got it set up here. It's probably going to be hard for you guys to see. It's way down in there. We got the race for the outside bearing way down here. So we'll give that a few whacks here with this brass drift. See if we can get that to pop out. Should come out the bottom side. Just do some light taps here. Small hammer. It's just tensioned all the way out. I think's the problem here. So there it goes. Oh God. And that's the way it was seated in from the bottom. So we're hitting along this edge here. You see the nice tapered inner race here that the bearing was riding on. And that black line in the middle. It looks pretty good. An obvious damage to it. There you go. It's the rear. Now we'll have to flip it over. And we'll be driving this race right here out. But we'll drive it out the opposite way. So hopefully flip this axle over here so we can drive it straight down like we did that one. And hopefully we can get that one up. Again, this will probably be hard for you guys to see down in there. But, we're doing the exact same thing, but we're driving the larger inner race out. There it goes. Yeah, pretty much the same as the outside one. Just a little bigger. Bearing's a little bigger on this side. There you go. Again, I don't see any damage to it. Looks nice and smooth. No gouging, no hot spots. So, looks like this differential is in good shape. Okay, the next step, I believe, I will clean this out. Now that everything's removed from the inside, we'll be able to clean it out. We'll just use a brake cleaner or something like that and clean it out and get ready to drive in the new races. Get right out of there. Whoop. Okay, we'll shut down, clean this thing up, and see about getting the new races put back in.